Are you ready to get schooled? It's time for Risdon's Wisdom with the Riz, Jeff Risdon.
Oh, how you doing? Back with the Riz right now. Welcome to everybody watching the show. Riz, thanks for joining us, man. Tops of the pops here at Lions Wire and over at Browns Wire. I know this is the boring time of year for you. Nothing gets started until about the 15th of June, right? All right, couple of quick topics. We know you're a little bit on time today. You got some very important family matters to take care of. Let's get right into it. Slay's contract and the value around that. There's a lot of talk around Darius Slay. Will he stay? Will he go? Will we keep him? Will we trade him? Cut through the mustard, man. Give us your take on this.
It's some pretty thick mustard, let me tell you. So he came out, and it came out earlier this week or last week even. It's been going on for a long time. It goes back into last fall that he wants new money. Actually, a year ago this time, he wants more money. His contract ends at the end of this season. He's making $12 million and change this year. He is the 14th highest paid cornerback in the NFL in 2020. He thinks he's better than that. He probably is better than that, although he was not last year, even though he made the Pro Bowl. He's going to be 30 years old. He wants a new deal. I don't blame him for wanting a new deal. I'd want a new deal, too, if I were him.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, what does he want? So he got a new exchange with a fan, Jared Heatley. I'll give him some credit on that because he actually responded to Slay, and Slay responded to him, which is awesome. And Darius is that kind of guy. That's one of the reasons why we like him as Lions fans.
Yeah.
And Jared said, and I don't have the exact tweet in front of me, but it's in a Lions Wire article, and it's making the rounds. I think it was $13.5 million for two to 3 years each. And Darius gave that a big old thumbs down. Like, okay. So he wants more than that. So there right now are two cornerbacks who make $15 million a year.
Wait, he doesn't think that's too much, Riz? You don't think it's going the other way?
I don't think so. No, I think he's looking for more. So the highest paid cornerback in the league is Xavier Howard, who is not as good as Darius Slay. And that's part of the problem,
right.
why Slay wants more money.
For sure.
And again, it's hard to blame him for that.
No, absolutely fair.
So the economics of it are he's going to be a free agent after the season. I don't think that the Lions are going to pay him $13.5 million. I don't think they're going to pay him $12 million again.
Nope.
He's older. He did not play well last year. Again, to his standards, he's still a very good starting cornerback.
Yeah.
He did not deserve to make the Pro Bowl last year, if we're being honest. Yeah. He had some issues, and it goes beyond just not having the pass rush. He got beat quick on some plays, too, and if you watch the tape, you'll see that a lot. That's why his Pro Football Focus grade went down. PFF, by the way, stops the clock on coverage after a certain set time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're out there for 6 seconds, they're not charting you for the entire 6 seconds. It gets cut off at a certain point,
and that makes good sense.
So,
right?
It does.
It helps give some validity to their formula for sure.
It does. What do you pay him? Do you offer him? And also keep in mind now they just got burned with Snacks. They gave Snacks, who has the same agent, the kind of contract that you would think that would be amenable for Slay, a 2-year deal. Basically a guaranteed salary bump. Like here's all this money, take it now, and then we'll see you in 2 years, or you'll be gone in 2 years. And it didn't work because Snacks didn't play well. He got hurt, came out of shape, whatever, was a dad with twin girls, and God bless him for that. I can certainly understand and empathize with that.
Yeah.
But the fact is he wasn't very good last year either. And now everybody has buyer's remorse, and a lot of people have turned on Snacks. Slay is not a dumb guy. He sees this. He knows this. So I don't know if there's a future for him beyond 2020 in Detroit. And my current school of thought is that they will see how it's going early in the year. And if they're 1-4, he's gone. They're going to trade him. And at that point, I think everybody would be okay with that. I don't think that they're going to give him the kind of money that he wants. If he's not amenable to $13.5 million a year for 2 years, he ain't going to be in Detroit.
Yeah.
And this is a thing that we talked about in the Slack earlier this year. Again, the most intelligent Lions chat on the internet. His trade value really peaked right before the trade deadline of this year, and thinking you're going to trade him for a whole lot without signing to a contract, and then thinking you're going to sign him to a contract before you trade him is going to be tough. That value now has plummeted, not because he's not a good player, but because he's not coming with a contract. You don't know what you're getting when you pick up. Basically, he's a rental right now. So that hurts the Lions in the long run. Now, you've got hindsight as your assistant here, right, to know that. But there's a lot of people, and I think there's a number of us in the Slack that saw that if you're going to get rid of him, now and this year is not really the ideal time to do it. It was really ahead of the trade deadline last year to get as much value as you could there.
No, I don't think it would be advantageous to him, even from a financial standpoint, to try to hold out this year if the Lions didn't try to extend him. But I can see him trying to threaten it again and, not performing up until the season starts. I can certainly see that. I think that both, he'd lose if he tried to sit out this year, he'd lose a lot of money this year. He would also be 31 then,
right.
Trying to get his new contract with another team.
What's the franchise tag number on him?
It would be more than we want to pay him.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think what that number.
So it would be the average of the top 5 salaries. That's going to be around 14.
Yeah, you might as well pay
14 to 14.5, somewhere in there.
Yeah, you might as well take the contract then. So,
yeah. Now, Case, go back to what you said about. Don't you think that him threatening a holdout would be, in essence, him demanding a trade?
Yeah, and that was where I was going to go next with that, is because I do think that is, a viable option for him. Unfortunately, like Chris said, for the team, that value has gone down, but it'd still be better to get something out of him than nothing, and then we'd also be able to take, the cap off of our hands and not have to worry about that this year. So
I will say, though, for a team that for a front office that's been put in the position that Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia have with this win now thing, a pick, right, a couple of picks this year wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing if he's holding out anyway. It's how much can you get in those picks? Do you value that in the short term to get you over a hump to keep your job while you then go for Akuda and move on?
Or does anybody have a linebacker out there that we really want?
Right. A lot of calculus. And speaking of which, part of this whole calculus is the salary cap and finagling those. I want to put a plug out there. Ash put a great article out on DetroitLionsPodcast.com today.
Yes.
If you want to know, look, the salary cap is sometimes it's a social construct, sometimes it's real, right? There's a whole lot of finagling and calculus there. Carlos Meneras annually gets it wrong. Go to Ash's article. He explains it in easy to understand terminology. You'll understand where the Lions are, what the thinking is, and what to expect from them in that regard. Not just plugging it because it's on DetroitLionsPodcast.com. We plug everybody's stuff, but Ash does a great job on this every year.
Yeah.
And if you want to be educated, that's the place to go to find out and get lined up with what's going on. So I'm sorry, I just want to give a little bit of shout out and love to Ash. All right, let's go. He does. He really does. Let's move on from Senior Slay and talk about this draft, right? More picks feels a lot better for this team right now. As usual, the first round pick is in a weird place, 3rd overall right now. There's a couple of things you could go for. You're not going to make everybody happy with whoever you pick at 3. But there's these ideas of the second round, right? And second round people aren't as clear on, right? Those top 10 positions or top 15 positions, there's generally a consensus. There's a couple of really odd spots based on the teams that are there. But the second round starts to kind of fall into place. And would love to hear, I know, Riz, you're working on some stories about some second round prospects. What do you think the second round holds for the Lions? What are they looking for as they go into day 2 of the NFL draft this year?
I think some of it depends on what they get at 3. And I think at 3, they're either getting Chase Young or Jeff Okudah. I don't think there are other options, to be honest with you, at number 3. I really don't.
I agree.
You're not on the Simmons wagon at this point.
No, and I'll tell you this. I don't think the Lions perceive linebacker as a need at all. I really don't. And
that's interesting.
They view look at what they've done with their linebackers. They drafted Tavai last year. They signed Jones. They have Kennard.
There's something called Jared Davis.
They've got. He's on the spot this year, but I don't think they're going to replace him outright.
Right.
And certainly not with a premium pick. So I would be stunned if they took a linebacker before about the 4th round. I just don't see them seeing that as a position of need at all. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Simmons, by the way, would be a linebacker for them. I know I've had this argument with Eric Schlick quite a bit behind the scenes. He thinks he would be the Tavon Wilson role, but that is not necessarily a role that you would spend a premium pick on because it's just not. It doesn't bring that much value. Off-ball linebacker doesn't either, and they've blown that twice. But that's one of the reasons why we're picking third.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't think that Simmons is a consideration at all at 3. I really don't. So. Let's say they get Chase Young, and now I've got a mock draft coming at Real GM. If I ever finish writing the capsules for it, we'll be up tomorrow, hopefully. Yeah. Chase Young is number 3. And then, the Lions get him.
The reason for that is people are talking about that the Lions could take Tua, right, as part of the smokescreen. They may jump up to second, with the Skins, trade the Redskins out of there and take that second spot. They're not going to take Chase Young. Yes. They're coming for a quarterback, and then Chase falls to us. It's a very real scenario. So for people who thought that it's impossible, don't just stop because it's not.
Let's say so. I'll give a little teaser here. I have the Chargers moving up. Why would you not? Why wouldn't you not trade to 2 instead of 3 if it costs you the same? Because then you're guaranteeing that you get the guy you want.
Exactly.
Right.
That just makes sense. You got to step away from Lions land for a while when you're evaluating some of these trade scenarios.
Right.
Let's put yourself in the position of the team that's trading up. Why would you trade to 3 when you can go to 2 for the same price? It doesn't make any sense at all. So I do think that they're going to get a buyer at 2. And from what I gather, they're selling at 2.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. If someone comes up and takes a quarterback at 2, is there another quarterback that would make a team like Miami hungry enough to sign up for number 3 on?
Maybe Justin Herbert. You got to hope that the love for Justin Herbert spreads.
He needs a good combine.
He does. He had a good Senior Bowl.
Yeah, he did. Absolutely, he did. He raised his stock there.
Okay, so let's go back to your second round pick ideas. Yeah. I'm curious.
Yeah. So you get Chase Young in the first round. So then you don't need a pass rush. You're taking care of there. So then the biggest need on the team is wide receiver, because you have right now Kenny Golladay and what's left of Marvin Jones. Mm-hmm. That's it. That is your wide receiving core right now.
Yeah. Yep.
So you're taking there. You need a slot to replace Danny Amendola, who is not on the Lions anymore.
Yep.
Would they love to have him back? Yes. Will he go elsewhere? Yes. I don't see him coming back. And I think Chris knows why. You don't think he's coming back too.
Yeah.
Is he following his buddy somewhere else?
Maybe. There's other things working there too. So I love, and I just finished his draft profile. Laviska Shenault out of Colorado he is so good. I will rate him higher. I'll tell you this right now. I will rank him higher than I have CeeDee Lamb, just based on potential. Yes. The guy is a phenomenal receiver. He has some Anquan Bolden qualities to him, but he's also really, really fast. So picture a really fast Anquan Bolden going on the outside, but he also he loves to play in the slot. He can also play running back. He has taken jet sweeps. He's taken wildcat snaps before. There's not a lot he doesn't do really, really well. So I'm a big fan of him. If he's there at 35, if I'm Bob Quinn, my pants are long gone. I'm going to need towels, multiple towels, if that scenario happens.
There will not be a live stream of Alan Park for that pick.
Okay, so here's a good alternate scenario. If the Redskins were to decide, well, okay, we've heard people's offers. We're just going to go with Chase Young. We feel like he's legit. That's that still leaves number 3 open to potentially trade. And there was another team that the rumor flew today that they might be interested in trading up. And this one's a little bit bigger surprise. And this is the Colts, who will pick number 13th in the first round. So I went and, plugged in draft calculator stuff to see what that would net us if they moved up. And the basic concept would be, okay, we'd have the 13th pick then, and that throws everything that we think we know about who might be available for us kind of out the window. Slim chance that maybe Okudah would fall just because nobody else was looking for a corner, but unlikely. But what we would end up with then is having the 34th pick from them and the 44th pick. So
they have those 2 second rounders. They have it's Washington's, right? Yeah, they have Washington's pick,
which creates a fascinating scenario to have those 2 back to back, because we'd have the 34th pick and the 35th pick. And they're, borderline first round picks. I mean, yeah, okay. I know, a lot of Lions fans really don't think Bob Quinn can't draft in the second round. I get that. But at the same time,
but 2 chances not
you
to,
get 3 opportunities, 2 opportunities right at the front of the second round and a 3rd opportunity in the middle of the second round. I mean, that's pretty juicy. Plus on top of that, you'd probably be getting it like a future 4th or 5th round pick or something like that on top of it.
Wow. So now see the Colts are interesting because they have 2 big needs. They need a quarterback, and if Anthony Costanzo retires, and it sounds like he's going to, they desperately need a left tackle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if they want to move up to 3, they can choose, okay, do we get a quarterback here, or do we get at the front of this very deep tackle class?
Yeah.
God, it's a great year to need an offensive tackle.
Yeah.
It really is. I got 4 of them in the top 12, so there's and they would be missing out on that being at 13. I love that idea. The thing is that when you have those second round picks like that, you can also package 2 of those and move them back up.
Right. You can totally
20.
do that.
Yep.
Yeah. And get whoever you want. Just thinking off the top of my head and based on the mock that I just ran and some of the other mocks I've seen, you fall there, you're getting Javon Kinlaw. You're getting maybe Derek Brown. You're getting Caleb Chason. Guys who can help you quite a bit still. Yeah. Again, it's not the premium, but you're getting a really good player there, and you're getting a lot more later. That'd be sexy. I like that.
Which is in places that they need later, right?
Yes.
I feel like it's hard at 13 for this team because, especially particularly with the Slay thing, and that's why Okudah stands so strong right now for me.
Right.
On this team to walk away from a replacement. A potential replacement for Darius Slay, knowing what the future probably holds with him, makes that a real difficult chase.
So then one of your second round picks would be a guy like Christian Fulton from LSU, who's really good but has some warts.
Right.
He's better than Greedy Williams was last year. I'll tell you that. But I'm not crazy about him in that range.
Right.
Sure.
All right, can we go back to those second round prospects? We keep meandering away.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
In the first round.
No, I like that. No,
it's good. It was a good one. But I know, Riz, you got a lot to talk about here.
Well, just actually, Fulton is another guy that I brought up that I was going to bring up there is because if you don't get Okudah at 3, you do need a cornerback at some point early, and that makes sense. He makes sense there. Again, I'm not a big fan of his, but I can see the Lions liking him because of what he does.
Sure.
Who's the other guy that I had? Oh, it's not the position I would take, and it's not somebody that I would be interested in. But Josh Jones out of Houston, if he somehow falls, I can definitely see Quinn and Patricia being enamored with him. He was like the big winner in the Senior Bowl. In the 3 days of practice there, he got a ton of buzz. He's long, he's strong, he's bound to get the friction on. So sorry, cut that, edit
that out. I may edit that out, but just for future use.
Dr. Riz, right here for you. I got your back, folks.
Oh God, I cannot stop thinking Sir Mix-a-Lot. That's sad.
Yeah,
move on to Tone Loc or something. But anyways, he is a guy.
Sir Mix-a-Lot, booty thick.
It's just always the same reference, right?
That's right. That's right. So he's the guy. Again, I would not take an offensive tackle. I don't think that they're part. I don't think they're cutting Rick Wagner. First off, I just don't. I don't understand the people who think that, quite honestly.
Yeah.
You're charged with winning now. Is he playing as well as he should? No. Is he worth his contract? No. Is he bad? No.
And how much is an upgrade going to cost? Right.
Right.
You're
exactly.
going to gamble on somebody in the draft, which it is. It's always a gamble, right? And you're not going to get him in the first round. I mean, the second round's a little bit of a question, but you start looking down. Who's going to be better than him, guaranteed? Out. I just don't see that happen. Exactly the thinking. I mean, it's when you make some of these moves, you as a coach in a front office, you look at this and and a GM, you have to say, am I guaranteed to get better? Because that's what I need this year. I need to guarantee that I'm going to be better at each one of these positions I'm looking to replace. Because if I can't do that, I'm putting myself in harm's way.
Remember, you need a starting right guard because Graham Glasgow isn't going to be back. He's not on the team anymore. Don't expect him back at all. They've told you that he's not coming back by not offering him a contract extension at all in his contract year.
Just for the sake of knowing what's going on, we'd save about $6 million and have about $6 million in dead cap if we cut Wagner this year.
So that's like a rough push then,
right?
So then your starting tackle will be Tyrell Crosby or somebody that you draft, and then you have to get a third swing tackle because that guy isn't on the roster right now,
right? Or
you're using your second round pick on a guy like Josh Jones or the other Iowa tackle. Or a guy like the guy from LSU, and his name escapes me. Not LSU. USC. And I can't think of his name, but I just wrote him up too for Browns Wire because Browns fans have a maudlin interest in every offensive tackle because theirs are terrible. Tyrell Crosby would be the best tackle on the Cleveland Browns. That's one of the reasons why they're 6-10. So,
well, you can have him for a first-round pick, Cleveland.
Yes. Yeah, please do. Take that.
Can I ask you what you think about Josh Garnett really quick? The pickup, is he really playing, looking at playing time, or is he fighting for position?
I will be pleasantly surprised if he makes the team. So go back to that draft. Mm-hmm. He was my number 222 player in that draft. Wow. Had he gone to Indiana and not Stanford, nobody would have thought he was better than a fourth-round pick. I guarantee that. That he was so inflated by playing at Stanford and getting the accolades that he did. He was fat. He was a leaner. He was not as good as Laken Tomlinson in college at all. Mm. And he was one of those guys that inexplicably rose up the draft boards. It happens every year. We see it every year. And it didn't help him that he got hurt. He has, from what I understand, he's lost a significant amount of weight. I think he's down to 295 pounds, which can't hurt, but he was really bad in San Francisco. Like they knew by the end of their first training camp, what have we done?
Yeah,
that's not the question you ever want your GM to ask.
Yeah,
no.
All right, I want to push forward to one topic if you don't mind. Case, we got just a little bit of time here with Riz left, and he's got a bunch of.
I'll save mine for next time we talk to him.
All right, it's all about running backs. You want me to, I'll hand that one off to your Case.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Was kind of poking at you a little bit.
That's okay. So there's this kind of hypothetical of the Lions probably want to add a running back at some point, and that's Kerryon Johnson just isn't reliably healthy. We were very impressed with what we saw at Bo, but we've been very impressed by guys deep on the roster before for, short periods of time.
Oh, we love Tyon Green. Oh, he was great.
Right. Montgomery just didn't provide the he talk about one of my personal disappointments on the year. And that's, hopefully they've developed ways to use him more effectively.
Insert your Snoop Who gif here.
Right. And J.D. McKissick obviously is like that's a gadget type thing. Is he even on the roster next year? I don't remember. So if I'm looking at as the Lions, I'm not looking at them, trying to spend a high draft pick, but I'm maybe somewhere between the 3rd, the 5th, the 6th round. And if I'm looking at Darrell Bevell's history, and maybe this is, and I do think that some people read a little bit too much into this and trying to pigeonhole Darren Bevell after 1 year here and trying to pigeonhole him based on anything he's done in his career when he's done a lot of different things in different places. But you always kind of go back to the Marshawn Lynch thing and that bruiser powerful back. And if they were looking for a guy like that in the mid rounds, is there anybody that you and I'm just getting I know we're all just working our way through building our conception of what's going on this offseason, so I don't expect you to have the answer or anything like that, but but is there anybody that we might start thinking about looking at, in regards to that type of back?
So if you want a guy like Beast Mode, you want Zach Moss from Utah. Mm-hmm. Big boy, drives very well with his legs. Went through contact, has exceptional balance through contact. He's not fast. He doesn't catch particularly well from what we've seen, but he is that kind of guy. So and he's probably a third rounder.
Sure.
I actually had a very long conversation with another somebody that everybody's name would know in the draft media yesterday.
Does it start with a W?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not. And we talked about where we think the run on running backs is going to go, and he agreed with me that there will not be a first round running back this year. There just isn't the demand for it.
Yeah.
Especially when you can get Todd Gurley for nothing, and you can get David Johnson for nothing.
Right.
It tells you where the league's value on running backs is. So I don't think you're going to see it in the first round. I don't think you're going to see Detroit consider one before the third or maybe the fourth round. That's probably where Moss is going to go. Chris and I in Mobile saw a guy. He's not necessarily that type, but if you like Christian Michael when he came out of Texas A&M, and Darrell Bevell sure as hell did, because they want to draft him in Seattle.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. It goes by Christian. It's spelled Christine.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very strange. He's from Houston. He's actually of African. He's like a first generation African descent American, and they spelled it weird. He's actually really cool about it too. Yeah. But he is the guy we saw in Mobile, Keyshawn Vaughn from Vanderbilt. Built very similarly, had the same kind of skills. Michael was faster and probably a little bit more polished of a receiver, but in terms of the way that he runs the ball and attacks and presses the hole, Keyshawn Vaughn from Vanderbilt is a guy that would fit as well. And he's probably a third or fourth round guy too.
And I'll tell you, and as I kind of look through my notes here from Senior Bowl, and we've talked about this before, Riz, about the guys from Vandy, how they were absolutely ripped, and their strength and conditioning program should be elevated to the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys, all of them were really like a lot of lean muscle. You don't see these are not going to be guys who are pulling hammies.
These guys are they're models, right? I mean, they're model physiques, right? And it's just like, holy cow. And I was of the groups sitting there, I happened to be the first one to say it, but we were all like, yeah, like it was very, very up front. Now, one thing about Keyshawn though, that I noticed, and I got to hear my notes on stage as he's going across, and of course, right, this is the elephant walk, so it is all the lights are on you. You're standing there in your underwear, right? It's whatever it is. He didn't seem super confident, but watching him run, he ran a lot differently than he held himself on stage there, and that was one of my notes that I had, and it was one of the things I was watching for. But he definitely runs different than he kind of dealt with things when he was up there in his underwear in front of a crowd of 500.
And I'll bring up one last guy because Case mentioned him before we went on, and that's Kelly out of UCLA. And I'll give you a quote from somebody who knows him well. Said he runs like he just stole the car.
Mm-hmm. Wait, if he just stole the car, wouldn't he be in the car?
Don't screw up the quote. Honestly, Case, I asked the same question. He gave me a middle finger emoji.
That's awesome.
Great minds, Jeff. Great minds.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Did you want to talk about Pirine at all?
Oh, LaMichael Pirine?
Yeah.
From Florida. Another bigger back. Mm-hmm. He's got some speed. He's got a little bit of juice to him. I have not watched a lot of Florida yet. I'm dreading putting that in.
Yeah.
So one of my draft rules, avoid all Florida defenders all the time, forever and ever. Amen. But although I would love it if they signed Brian Poole as a free agent, because that guy's one of the best slot corners in the league. Mm-hmm. And he came from Florida. But yeah, I haven't gotten around to them yet.
Okay.
He was at the Senior Bowl. He's got the big old butt. Oh yeah,
he does. He's powerful down low. Ripped. I have him as ripped. One thing though I noticed, and I label it here as Quintricia, but I would or Quintrest, sorry. I would say that it appeared there was a little bit of a stirring in Bob Quinn's loins as this man came on stage. So keep an eye on him. I just the body language from Quinn at the time when he was on there was.
I love that you were spying on him. Oh, you were probably like 15 feet away from him, and you were.
Oh yeah,
so covertly
2 years in a row, right? That's part of my whole evaluation process.
I'm there firing off tweets about how how good the guys look, and you're spying and you're doing actual work. I appreciate that.
We make a hell of a team, buddy. Between us, we're one heck of. I don't even want to say that because you do fine by yourself. But anyway, okay, cool. Running backs, I think we got our hands on that right now. Second round prospects, I feel good about that. We're going to talk about that first round trade potential. Is there anything we want to say about Miami at this point? They're definitely kind of going to pop to 2, right? They wouldn't wait till 3. It's them and the Chargers that are probably battling, and we really need Herbert to show up and be Superman at the combine to give us that hope.
Carolina is a variable because they're rebuilding and they have the ability, if they want Tua, they can wait a year. They know they're going to suck next year.
Right.
So they have to be a fly in that ointment too. And what they do with Cam Newton matters in that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, with that, Riz, we're going to call it a show. We're going to call it a week. Thank you so much for joining us again. Folks, remember, we're looking for your involvement in the show. Use the comments and subreddit to give us your feedback. Also, don't forget about us on the Patreon, patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Get on that Slack chat and get all the inside info and conversation from the most intelligent Lions chat on the internet. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram. Facebook is facebook.com/the Detroit Lions Podcast. Instagram is Detroit Lions Podcast. We did our first post there. It's good stuff. Also follow us on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast. DET Lions Podcast, the very best place to see Case
with no pants on.
All right. Give us a call via Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast. All one word, Detroit Lions Podcast, or call us on the Lions line, 929-33-LIONS. It's 929-335-4667. And go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Hit that subscribe button so you subscribe to the podcast and we show up in your ear holes every week automagically. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, no problems, baby, because we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection. All right, YouTube, we will be right back. Riz, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you accommodating my schedule.
Oh, of course, man. Thank you for working with us, man.
YouTube, if you're just joining us, we're doing things a little bit out of order, so we're going to jump back to the top of the show in a little bit here.
Yep. We will be going off for about 5 minutes, and then we'll be right back to go from the top of the show, and we'll have all the rest of the content right here for you. So give us about 5 to get reset, and we'll see you folks then. Love you.